nothing to lose because you don't. And when you realize that, that's when you make the decision that you're going to play your best. Because if you don't have it tomorrow. You don't get another 48 minutes. That's what we're here for. The pride, the tradition, the family. Yeah, about the guys in this room. Nothing else. 48 minutes for everybody who's here. Do you understand me?
Yes, Coach.
Do you understand me?
Yes, Coach.
Welcome back to Clemson Titles. I am your host, DDP, a.k.a. Nino Brown. And I got my co-host to the left, right, depending on how you're watching, Boomer, a.k.a. Jared Gray. How we doing tonight, homie?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man. This layout is so sick. I mean, if you're not a Clemson fan, you are after this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? This thing is fire. So
KT showed me a little bit. Moon helped me out, and then I kind of got my bag a little bit, and we're getting better and better as we go on. So
it's fire. It's fire.
Like we always do, right? We do a weekly headlines. Before we get into that, I gotta give my man some kudos, some flowers, some claps. Congratulations, bro. You smashed that this week. That Oklahoma.
I ain't gonna lie to you though. A little nervous. First episode. Had some technical difficulties on my side. But got in a groove eventually, and I'm all about it every week, just be crushing it. The shorts are doing pretty good so far, so loving it. Anything for Sooner Nation.
He says he's Humble Pie. Mr. Humble Pie is doing pretty good so far. It's like 48 hours. He's got over 2K in views, so we're doing good. We're doing good. It's climbing. CFB Nation.
Hey, I'm trying to get on your level, bro.
Hey, listen. I struck gold once, and was lightning in the bottle. We'll see what happens. But
we'll see.
Before we get into the weekly headline, I just want to shout out, the merger, CFB Nation, Towards the Titles, all our college shows. P2P has now officially moved over to CFB Nation. So make sure you click that bell, subscribe, so you can get every Friday's P2P out there. And then, we get the college show with me and KT on Monday and Tuesday. So I get to pick your brain for a little bit here, see what we think about these weekly headlines. Right off the rip, I found this one, it's Saban-esque, when you need to fill a hole, you go back to the experienced NFL guy. And Saban and the Crimson Tide hire Ken Wisenhunt as a special assistant. Now, Wisenhunt comes with NFL experience, like I said. He's a head coach at Tennessee and at Arizona. What I find, a little gem, I call these the Moon Vibe Nuggets because he always comes with these little gems. Zach Mettenberger, right? Former LSU QB, is an analyst for Bama. But he's also the son-in-law to Ken Wisenhunt.
Yep.
Apparently, this was in the works 2 years ago or last year when they brought him in. Wisenhunt, second stint in the SEC. He was a special teams coach and a tight end coach at Vanderbilt in 95-96. And he replaces Drew Sabota, who ended up going to North Texas Mean Green, which was a good hire for the Mean Green. So what are your thoughts on this hire for the Crimson Tide?
I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Ken Wisenhunt fan, actually. I love what he did in, Vanderbilt when he was just a nobody special teams guy, right? He obviously went to Baltimore, Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Arizona's head coach, right? Which, it just sucks to go to Arizona. They ain't had a coach greater than 6 years in their entire franchise, by the way. If you go there, I want a 7-year contract guaranteed. Just so you're the first guy to do it, right?
Yeah.
Then Chargers, the Titans, obviously head coach again. But then, kind of laid off. My man's 60.
Right.
All right.
Right. Yeah.
He went to Penn State, and it's kind of funny because kind of like full circle. He was at Vanderbilt a long time ago. Now he's, back with an alum, a guy that went to Vanderbilt as a head coach and was his offensive analyst. And it's kind of weird. It feels like my guy Saban is bringing in old blood and just trying to this one last ride for all of us. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's just, Jay Crane brought it up the other day and was still coming in. And now we've got Ken Wisenhunt coming in. We got Saban. We got some old dogs, see how many new tricks they can pull. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
when all else fails, you get the gang back together, right? And you just
Yeah,
you ride it
go
out.
back to
So
hugging.
that's it. So that was the first
Hey, if
topic. I
not, you'll
liked
be
it.
drinking beers and talking about it later. Hey, one
Yeah.
last ride. You know what I mean? So
They make a movie about it somewhere, and we'll all watch it. But the next topic on it, we're gonna keep with the coaching aspect. I find this one a little just picks my brain a little bit, right? Notre Dame expected to promote Gerard Parker to OC. As of I think 8:00 tonight, he is officially the offensive coordinator. I mean, he's going from tight ends coach to OC, right? But what I found pretty, interesting was that he beat out Sean Lewis for the job from Colorado, Andy Ludwig from Utah, and Colin Klein from Kansas State Wildcats. Now listen, Colin Klein and Andy Ludwig, they got a pretty decent resume. Their offense has been pretty stout the last couple of years. So,
well, I mean, here's the thing with Colin Klein, right? I mean, he's a new blood, right? I mean, dude was the quarterback, at Kansas State not too long ago,
yeah.
But beating Ludwig out that's a move right there because Utah has been something special the last couple of years.
That's what I'm saying.
And I don't know. I personally don't get the hire in comparison to Ludwig. I mean, once I heard Ludwig's name was in, I was like, one, I don't know why you leave Utah but it's definitely an upgrade situation,
Right.
school wise. But man, I can't believe he didn't get the job personally. I mean, hey, kudos.
Right. No, I hear you. Right. You know what I mean?
Good job, Gerard.
But like the resume is small, right? Yeah.
I'm with you. 100% with you on this one.
It was wide receiver for my Wildcats back in 04. I mean, then he went to UT Martin for a little bit. He was wide receivers coach at Marshall. 2013, he took the job with the Boilermakers, right? And he was a tight ends coach and wide receivers coach. And he did a little bit of the run game coordinator. I mean, there's nothing. I don't know. I think the three other guys that were in the pot had a little more experience in my eyes.
I'm 100% with you. And maybe it's just in one aspect, I'm all about the new guy getting a chance. You know what I mean? Maybe This was one time to get a chance, and maybe they saw something that others didn't see. It's kind of like the Raleigh boys, right? I mean, they rose fast, but this guy hasn't rose fast. He's kind of biding his time. We're talking 2013. He's been sitting back waiting. It's kind of like Kevin Stefanski was, with the Vikings for 15 years, and he probably should still be back with the Vikings because I don't think he's a head coach. But that's just my personal opinion. But I would like to see him succeed, obviously. But when Ludwig's in the conversation, I don't know how you tell him no. So
I don't know if the money was
trying to win today. Like, what I'm saying, you're trying to win today. You rebuild. So
right, exactly. And but there's a thing that me and KT talk about at this point right now. Like, it's kind of late to get guys. You got to be throwing the money around. The bag got to be heavy, right?
Well, and maybe that's why. Maybe he's the cheaper version.
Yes. Yes.
Maybe they love his recruiting.
Right. All right. I'm with it. All right. One last coaching aspect on the headlines is NC State gives Dave Dorian one more year to his contract, right? Added on a year. So now he's going into his 11th season with NC State. 8-5 last year, and they ranks third in ACC conference in wins total since 2018. Nothing changes for him. They just added on a year, which I found odd because he's still going to make the $5 million annually. So what are your thoughts on this?
Well, here's my thing about Dorian. It's NC State's not one of those jobs you're going to like be a premier guy, right? However, that dude has brought some talent to the NFL.
Very true.
I mean, just in linebacker alone.
Right.
I mean, let's talk about Shaq Leonard. You talk about recent linebacker. Is it Quay Walker, right? Was Quay Walker there? Quay Walker at NC State.
And then they have the gentleman going in now, right?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm not kidding you. They put some dudes out,
They do.
And they've had some absolute really good players. I mean, wide receivers have been good. They've had, ever since my man Russ Wilson left, he's just been kind of, they had a really great quarterback. But I mean, our boy was there for a little bit, but
yeah,
he needs a better. I think he needs to bring another good quarterback coach in. Personally, that's what he needs to do because he's got talent.
Give him a weapon, bro. Where's the weapons? Right. You know what I mean? Like, there's no.
Yeah. Hey, NIL, it's time to come. Let's bring in the dude. You know what I'm saying? Let's bring in the dude.
Oh, get a tight end. You can see it happening. College football is kind of going to that wide receiver-esque tight end. The Dalton Kincaids, the Laportas, the Darnell Washingtons. But, like, bro, give him something. Give whoever's going to be the quarterback, NC State, something to throw to. And I'm not knocking these guys
until you bring in an offensive coordinator that's lighting it up, a tight end ain't coming. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And especially when you're watching teams like Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma,
Exactly. Yeah.
Those dudes are lighting it up right. Even Kansas is lighting it up right now. So, I mean, it's hard to beat the South in general. Any aspect.
Facts.
So
that's facts. All right. Let's get into it. So I wanted to break down a team. I said, what team you want to do? I gave you 3. You gave me 1 back. I said, let's do it. Clemson, we're coming after you. We're not coming. I'm just going to talk about you. We're going to talk about what you've been through, what you're going through, what's going on with the recruiting, the transfer portal, who's returning, who's gone, what you got to look forward to. 11-3, 8-0 in the conference last year, right? They run an air raid offense. They run two sets of defense. They run a 4-2-5 and 4-3-D. Dabo Swinney's the head coach. Been there for a few years now. But new gentleman in there is Garrett Riley, the OC position. Garrett Riley, since he's been in any offensive position in college football, has only made things better, right? Well, let's go with back when he played when he was coaching with his brother in East Carolina, right? 2013, 2014, 10-3. Lincoln Riley was the OC. 2014, they went 8-5. Then he went to East Carolina's own. He was wide receiver coach. By a gentleman by the name of Zay Jones, underneath Garrett Riley's watch. Went for 98 receptions, 1,000 yards, 5 touchdowns. Pretty good, right? Kind of carving up dudes last 2 years in the NFL, if I don't say. What do you think, Jared?
Yeah, he's been really solid last couple of years. I mean, Clemson has brought in phenomenal recruits. However, they're ranked 157th in transfer portal.
Yeah.
157th.
Yeah, it's not good.
Bro.
That's actually 171 when I checked before we came on. 171, bro. Yeah.
It's despicable.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Like, we're watching a brand new era of football.
Yes.
And until my guy unlocks the wagon and says, hey, we want to bring, because guess what? You guys transfer out. You gotta bring people in. He's like, oh, well, I'll bring in JUCO players.
Yeah. Hey, listen, and I'm not saying anything's wrong.
I gotta readjust my seat for this dude.
There's nothing wrong with that. Ready. The dudes that hit, right? There are dudes that hit from JUCO, but come on, man. Get with the times. I'm tired of the excuses. I'm tired of how he puts it, and nothing against, religion or anything like that. But when you go that route, that's the route he goes. He does it subliminally, right? The things he tries to say, we do it this way. We go down this road. But church going people. Like, what kind of excuse?
Hey, I'm going to tell you this right
program?
Now. He's been one of the guys where people were like, hey, when Saban leaves, Dabo's the guy.
No way.
Until he uses the transfer portal, he ain't got a prayer going to Alabama.
No way.
Not a prayer.
No, I agree with you 100%. Listen, and this is about the whole Garrett Riley thing, right? Garrett Riley not only is there to shake things up in the portal, in the scheme, but he's also there like a little fire and say, listen, Dabo, if you ain't ready to adapt to the times, we got a gentleman who's been adapting. And everywhere he goes, he adapts and does well. Like I said, he did great with his brother at East Carolina. Then they gave him the position. Zay Jones was a baller. Went to Kansas as a QB coach. Peyton Bender, 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns. Who knew Peyton Bender? Nobody. Went to App State, right? He was running back coach at App State. They went 13-1, right? Pump dude went to the NFL by the name of what? Darrington Evans. 255 attempts, 1,500 yards, right? 18 touchdowns. Bro, he's still in the NFL, right? He's still playing, still doing his thing. Moved on to SMU, 2020, 2021. Both times winning records. They led the country in offense, 41.8 points per game, 544 yards of offense, right? Do you know who Shane Buechele is?
No. So, hey, real quick, Shane Buechele was a 5-star, right?
Where is he now? Right?
He went to Texas,
yeah,
right? Didn't really click. They liked their guy at Texas, right? Which I would argue is the coach's fault there. You don't let Shane Buechele go. Like, he should have been the dude to play. Then he goes to SMU and balls because my man Garrett Riley just absolutely unleashes this dude into the atmosphere. Yep. And Shane Buechele was, if he'd have been that way in any other school, right, in a big school, right, if he'd have been that way at Texas, we'd be talking to this dude in the NFL right now. And
it's a possibility.
And he's had his moments, right? And I think he's in the CFL, right? So
I believe so. Yeah.
That's the only thing. Like, you got to look at the small things. And with, like you said, this guy's he won the Broyles War, right, last year.
Yeah.
At TCU. I mean, and that's another crazy thing. I mean, they were going to have to pay him to keep him. And obviously, Clemson at least was smart enough to say, you know what, our offense was anemic. It's been anemic. And, I want to see games where, like, we watched DJ, Uiagalelei blow up against Wake Forest. I want those games every single game.
I want Garrett Riley to unleash Klubnix. All right. I want Klubnix. I can't have the 697 yards, 2 touchdowns, 200 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. I want, 260 attempts. You know what I'm saying? I want close to 3,000 yards, 25 touchdowns.
In a 14-game season, you better throw 3,500 yards.
Well, I mean, he runs, so he's mobile. So if the rushing yards are at 500 yards, and you're not at 3,500, I'm cool with it. But you're over 3. You know what I'm saying? You hit the 3K, I'm cool. But the hype's there, and I've been tooting the horn and pounding the table for this kid.
Oh, you've been on the Klubnix train for a minute.
But now he's getting, you can't get a better dude, right? You're getting a guy that's going to put the offense around you. I just want, can we get the best out of Antonio Williams and Bo Collins, right?
Are we finally going to see Will Shipley? We're going to see the 5-star that we expect, or we're going to see – what we're getting.
He carried them. Will Shipley carried them last year.
Well, you haven't carried him 210 carries, bro, when your quarterback ain't doing nothing. The rest of the offense was anemic.
Yeah, but and this is why I think Riley's huge. Because Riley's got look, you got a quarterback with all the hype, right? He's got all the intangibles, quote unquote, in Klubnik, right? Can run and can throw, got a good arm. You got a backfield, thunder and lightning, right? You got Shipley, who can bang, he's fast. Phil Maffa, he's your thunder, right? He's a good change of pace. Don't count out my guy, all right? My guy, Jake Bringstor. When DJU had good games, Bringstor had good games. Like, there was a couple times where DJU had 2 or 3 big games. Bringstor caught touchdowns. So I think he could be a safety blanket for Cade.
Yeah, I like Bringstor. I think he's, you've been, you're kind of like me. I'm really big in the tight end game. There's always 2 or 3 guys that I love. You're always, I would say that's where you've really gravitated to, let's find the gem here. And Bringstor might be the guy for sure. He is a safety blanket, 6'6", 215 pounds. I'd love to see him put on another
15
pounds.
Yeah.
We just watched a guy, we were just talking about it from Oklahoma. He's 6'3" and a quarter. And Braden Willis,
right,
who's 235. This
right.
size 6'6", 215. 235 would still be late on him. Like, I need you to be able to block. and I need you to catch balls, bro. So
yeah, that's it.
I mean,
you want to make it in the NFL.
Yeah, he needs to get 230, 245. And I don't see it being a problem, really.
No, I don't either. But but then I look at over here, Bo Collins 6'3", 195. I just he should be the guy on the outside that Kate is targeting. This guy should not be only having 22 receptions for 373. I love the 17 yards per catch, though. My man gets busy out there. You know what I'm saying? So get him the rock. Push the ball. Stop letting Dabo, when his old style play and game plan, and direct it. Like you brought in Garrett Riley, give him the damn keys, let him drive the bus. I'm sorry, but Dabo, it's time to be Miss Rosa Parks.
Because if he don't, Dabo gonna throw him under it. So there's that.
And that's what happened to Streeter, right? Streeter was the speed bump, bro. Put him under the bus. That's what it was, though. And KT will tell you, KT will say all the time, he was a Clemson dude. And I'm like, and that is exactly why he was the speed bump. Everything was laid out perfect. All right, let's talk defense now, right? I know you love this dude. Trotter comes back, right? Linebacker, 6'1", 210, 89 tackles, 50 solo, 13.5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 2 picks, 5 pass defenses, and a touchdown. Before we get anywhere, talk to me about Jeremiah Trotter Jr. Pedigree, baby.
Jeremiah Trotter is a guy that, I mean, he's a junior, right? So, or it is Jeremiah Trotter Jr., right? So,
correct.
Daddy's somebody, you know what I'm saying? So he's already got shoes to fill. But the thing is, he's filling them. I mean, he looks the part. His tackle rate's good. 50 solos, 39, assists. I'll be honest, I have no problem seeing this guy getting to 110. But the thing is, you're seeing that. Yeah, you're already seeing that from what he's got with 13.5 and 6 sacks. Come on, bro. I mean, he's everywhere.
But they just think about who's coming off that program, and he did that. Murphy, Breezy, Trent Simpson, all those dudes had numbers in 8, and
we think all 3 of those guys could be in the first round, right?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, and that's where I'm worried about Clemson, in the recruiting aspect, because that was Venables.
Oh yeah,
and you're already seeing that right now at Oklahoma. So, but Jeremiah Trotter is going to be he gonna blow up this year. He's gonna skyrocket into the first round because and he's smart by sitting back like, you know what, I'm gonna be the guy. Probably gonna be a team captain next year. I expect those numbers to balloon to the 110 range and maybe more. By the way. My question is what position do we see him moving to? I mean, I see he's only 210 pounds. So does he stay in the middle? He
has to.
I think it's smart if he stays in the middle, gets up to 225. I'd love to see 225. He ain't a big dude. And you know how that 6'1" is. We talked about this at the Senior Bowl. Of course, we watched one guy come in at 5'8", was really 5'10". So Nathaniel Dell, I think somebody's playing with those numbers just so he can drop. They're like, yeah, we got him. You know what I mean? But Trotter, because of the pedigree, because of what he's doing, his missed tackle rate's phenomenal. I just think he is going to be a guy that's up for the Buckus Award. To be honest with you,
I agree with
he's in my preseason semifinals right now. So
I'm with it. I could see 125 tackles, 130 tackles, around there. I could see him with close to 70 solos. If he increases the tackle for loss and gets a double-digit sacks, boy, I just feel bad for other linebackers in the ACC. It's going to get ugly. But
we like Deion Henley, this year.
Yeah. Yes.
I mean,
good comp. I love it.
And
I love it.
I think just for somebody that's coming out for this class right now, and I don't want to jump ahead and give Trotter too much windows, but we compared Henley to Kendricks,
right?
And if I'm going to give you Kendricks vibes, you're going to give me all aspects of a first round draft pick. So
100%. Now they had, in that secondary, they're losing that gentleman, Tyreek Stevenson, right? He's going to the NFL draft. We've seen him at the Senior Bowl. But they do got a guy in the safety position that I think is going to be a dog and he's going to eat. And that'd be Jalen Phillips, 6'1", 210, 76 tackles, 42 solo. He had a 1.5 tackles for loss, an interception, 5 pass defenses, and a fumble recovery. listen.
He basically a linebacker playing safety, bro. Like,
yes.
I mean, he's the same size as Trotter.
Right.
We're the exact same size. But he runs a 4.3 40. So
facts.
Instead of a 4.5 40. So when you're bringing the hammer at 4.3, I mean, because that dude is an absolute hammer. At 6'1",
he's a missile out there. Missile.
Yeah, from the safety position. Yeah. I mean, I know that you like him. You obviously, like, you're in this position. You know, I'm a big IDP guy.
Yes,
but
sir.
When you're a linebacker, you know, playing safety, if you don't see Cam Chancellor in this dude, something wrong with you.
Like, yo, yeah, I love it. I love it.
I mean, that's an absolute dude.
Now,
so and he's gonna jump out of the gym. He's gonna jump out of the gym. He's gonna jump 43.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete, dude. They got, you know, I love it. I think they got a leader in the middle part of the defense. They got a leader in the back half. And this guy, I think, is going to be a leader up front. That's Tyler Davies, nose tackle, 6'2", 300 pounds, 31. You know, listen, these are the dogs, right? Before I get to the numbers, these are the dogs. These guys, their numbers don't always look good, but there's going to be one stat if you're a dude that just jumps off the page, right? 31 tackles, 14 solo. So that's half. Half of his tackles are solo. Probably one-armed at that. 9.5 tackles for loss, 5.5 sacks. Those are the things that jump off the page to me. When you only got 31 tackles, but 9.5 of them were tackles for loss and 5.5 sacks, boy, you are making havoc in the backfield. Jared, talk to me about.
I mean, that's the thing is he probably can put on another 20 pounds, be 320. You know, not even. You know, think about it. Yeah. You know, we talk about guys, you know, because if you look at him, he's a shredded 300 pounds, by the way.
Yes.
He ain't a fat 300 pounds. So, you know, obviously everybody wants to be Aaron Donald at, you know, 6 foot, right. You know, and I would tell you he probably 5'11", you know, 300 pounds, but he's got an 8-pack at 300 pounds, so it don't matter. I mean, there's 4% body fat at 300 pounds. Yeah. And if anybody can get there, that's where you want to be, you know, and now, I think he's probably closer to a Derek Brown.
Okay.
You know, right now. Yep. I could even see a Dedrick Wise, to be honest with you.
I like that.
And Dedrick Wise is a dude. So
last 3 years, Dedrick Wise has come on strong for the Patriots. It's just
he played 100% of snap, like 4 games. That's, as a nose tackle, that's unheard of.
And well, that's when he went off, too. He had a stretch there. He was going buck.
Yeah, so I really could see him. You know, I'd love to see him get up to another 9.5. 10 tackles for loss. The biggest great thing, you know, the best thing about him is don't nobody get by him. I mean, he might have 31 tackles, but in the ACC, and this is what we do, and that's why you see big running back numbers, they stretch it. Like, we ain't staying here. We ain't staying the tackles here, but we got because there's guys, you know, like him in the middle, and we ain't about to see this life. So I like him, and I think if he stays right where he's at, he's still one of those guys. He's a top 2-round pick. So,
I could see him, you know, middle of the second, or early second all day.
I mean, it'll be interesting to see where he lands. You know, because you know, obviously we're going to be back in the Senior Bowl next year, and you know, we've seen guys that we wished would have went, and guys that didn't.
Right.
I pray that he's there. Like, I just want to see him just beast dudes all day. Like,
he'll be there with a small shirt like Pace Jr.
I feel like it'll be the opposite. You know, this year we saw Schmitz came up, and just post dudes. It's gonna be the opposite. I think it'll be like Jalen Carter. If Jalen Carter showed up at the Senior Bowl,
like McDonald. Will McDonald was throwing dudes around.
Yeah, Will McDonald, without a doubt. You already know how. Like, he's my guy.
Yeah, he's a dude.
I think he's a first-round talent. I really do.
Yeah, I think he's a steal.
He embarrassed people day 2. So.
Oh, bro, he was eating them up. Like, we're talking defense. A couple guys on the defense side of the ball for Tigers. Let's talk about DC. Wes Goodwin. You know, he took over Venables. You know, Venables went to OU. He was DC linebacker coach last year. He was the defense assistant when Venables was there from 18 to 21. They were let 21.5 points per game. They were ranked 20 nationally. But they're, like we said, they're losing Murphy and Breesy and Trenton Simpson. They're gone. So it's going to be all on Trotter Jr. and Phillips. My problem I have, and these things got to get cleaned up, right? 100 yards on the ground, which was 7th nationally. That's fine. But 229 yards passing per game, ranked 65th. Red zone scoring, they rank 63rd. You're losing 3 studs. You brought in, I'm not gonna discount this. You brought in 3 guys on the defensive side of the ball that probably will stop. Peter Woods, defensive lineman, 5-star, 6'3", 270 from Alabama, Alabama. Tamarian Parker, defensive lineman, 4-star, 6'3", 248 from Phoenix City, Alabama. So you got 2 Alabama boys. They're big boys. 17.
To get those boys out of Alabama, it's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just one of those things.
David Ajobi, edge, 4-star, 6'3", 235 out of Washington, D.C. He's a dude. Listen, those are 3 guys. They're young. They're freshmen, right? I don't expect them to be being 80% of snaps. I need to see something. Someone's going to have to step up to help out these guys. Goodwin's going to have to do something. What are your thoughts on Goodwin in the scheme and what he's going to have to do to replace the talent that's leaving for the NFL?
I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be trial by fire because you don't use the transfer portal. And exactly. I'm with you. I just looked again. It's 171st. And I think it was maybe 150, whatever, because the class was a top, 15 class. So, composite, you get to bring it down. But when you're 171st, in transfer portal, it's trial by fire. Those freshmen are going to get plenty of playing time, and that's probably the biggest pitch to get guys. Hey, man, sure, you can stay at Alabama, and you can go to Alabama under Saban. But you got all these transfers coming in. All these veterans are going to come in. Those guys are going to get playing time. Those guys are going to cheat. With me, I ain't bringing nobody in. So you're the guy. You know what I mean? And that's the selling point. That's how you get 5 stars on the defensive line, and linebacker and safety and everybody to come in because you ain't got nobody else to be there, especially when you have 4 guys leaving that are starting and probably going to start in the NFL in the next 2 years. So right. I'm going to need you to come on and help me out. So it's trial by fire. The good thing is that, it's the ACC and they ain't got a super strong schedule in the very beginning. They do have one tough schedule, obviously, like in the first game. But that's what you have to do. I mean, if you're going to bring in a 5-star and he's going to be a stud, that's your pitch.
Put him in.
You don't have anybody ahead of him.
You want to start? I give you every game, 100% snaps.
Yeah,
you got
come on, it's time to go because I ain't got nobody else.
But that's what they do.
I lost 8 people to the transfer portal, and then I got my graduating class.
Yeah, last 5 years. Think about it. What have they pumped out? Defensive dogs. Nobody really on the offensive side of the ball. Defense, they pump them out. Linebackers.
Well, who's the last wide receiver? Because Ross got hurt, right? You got ATN. You got the quarterback. But again,
out of that class, and then it was. Right, you take
that's where kind of this weird spot right now, right? Because the 2 top recruiters from that staff are gone,
and right. Venable's gone, and now I want to see what you got. Let's see what you can do on the defensive side.
I mean, 65th was not good, and it wasn't a tough schedule. So,
no. But they were 15th in recruiting this year, so I'll give that to Dabo. Right, he was in his bag working. On the offensive side of the ball in recruiting. Noble Johnson is a dude, 4-star wide receiver out of Roxwell, Texas, 6'2", 205. In his junior season, he had 49 receptions, 875, 8 touchdowns. 6'2" at 17 years old, 205 pounds. Bro, he could grow. He could wake up tomorrow and be 6'4". You know what I'm saying? And it wouldn't even be a stretch. It's insane. This guy right here, here's the dude that I want to ask you before I get into the last gentleman. Khalil Bonds, right? 4-star athlete. Bro, if I'm going to read these numbers to you, I want you to tell me where you think he even plays because I'm confused. I don't even know where I would start him. Secondary, 44 tackles, 8 interceptions, 7 pass breakups, and a fumble recovery. A forced fumble. Receiver, he had 53 receptions, 879 yards, 8 touchdowns. He also ran out of the backfield 35 times for 440 yards and 7 touchdowns. Where would you play this gentleman?
Well, that's the biggest thing. When you're bringing him, and they do this, they bring a guy in that they like to move around because he's an athlete. The thing is you could play him at slot and confuse people because he ain't like whatever. You can play him at tight end because he'd be an absolute mismatch to everybody, and he's going to play defense no matter what because they need help. So, That's the thing. He might play both ways, but the smart thing to do off the rip is to throw him, into the safety, into the linebacker. But they brought in such a good defensive class. I'm just not exactly sure what they want, because the other teams that recruited him, Notre Dame, Wake Forest, Arkansas State, which I don't know why Arkansas State would even have a prayer to get him, but
they just try. They're trying. Big fish. Trying for the big fish.
And that's the thing is, I would say you've got to play. He's going to play, some type of DB. He's too good not to.
Not to. Yeah.
Yeah. But I would love to. Let's mix it up like they used to. Like, you got Charles Woodson vibes. Give me Charles Woodson play.
Yeah, I love it.
So
prime time, baby.
Yeah, and I'd love to see it. I mean, especially if he's a burner. So
right. All right, I got one last one. And you know me, I like to just cause turmoil. But since we had the quarterback controversy with them last year, DJU and Cade, right? They brought in a gentleman this year in the class, 6'3", 200 pounds. Throws from various angles. He got good arm strength and velocity, somewhat mobile. Getting early Mitchell Trubisky comps. Mitchell Trubisky in college wasn't anything to forget about. So Christopher Veniza, what are your thoughts on this gentleman? Can he give Cade a little bit of a run and spice up the camp in spring game?
So, they also brought in the Northwestern quarterback, which is their one transfer. Hunter Johnson. I think Klubnix the guy. I think they pretty much, we held you back long enough,
right?
Type of thing. And Dabo has already shown that dude's loyal. Once he sticks with you, that dude's loyal. I mean, he gave DJU the longest rope ever. Right. Just tied around his waist and just see how far he could go. But that's what you have to do with a 5-star quarterback.
Yeah, I think the defense being so good kind of keeping them in the games. You know what I'm saying? And knowing.
But again, we saw flashes, man. We saw
that's
flashes.
What I'm saying, the talent and the flat knowing DJ he has it. Last week he showed me this, and then we're still winning by 7. We'll keep DJ in. He'll be all right. You know what I mean? So I get it.
Yep. It's thing is, and I'm not going to say Dabo's doing this, but he likes to have his hand in the pot, like my man Bob Stoops used to do. He would hold Venables back defensively. He would hold, Heupel back as the offensive coordinator. Obviously, when both of them left, they both have succeeded. Heupel's an absolute dude at Tennessee. Was a great offensive coordinator from Missouri. Dude's eating every week. Venables obviously had a top 5, and I think he had the number 1 defense like for 3 years in a row, by the way. So when you're doing that, you can see is Dabo doing that now because he's worried that he doesn't have guys like Brent Venables. He's got 2 new. He better let Garrett Riley do his thing because my man might be rolling out. So
yeah, I would be shutting the door.
I was worried that he was doing that with Streeter a lot. And
I think so too.
Yeah, so I think that you're going to see, like we talked about, Garrett Riley going to let it go, and we're going to see Klubnik ball out. And I think you're going to see a big year out of him. I mean, a 35 touchdown year. So
I think we're going to get I'm not saying it's going to be the same. People don't come at me and kill me, but Clemson folks, I think you can get in the first 6 games. You might get a little Drake May buzz.
Okay.
I'm not saying he's going to be able to carry that, but I think the kid's got a fire, and I think he's handled himself well. The very first question that was controversial, they asked him about DJU in an interview, right? My man sat down and said, bro, that's my dude. Everything he went through, and when I started and we came in the game, all he did was talk to me in a positive way, tell me, it's your time, go do your thing. When you're in there, it's all you. There was no battle between each other. They still talk to each other now. I think the kid's got a good head on the shoulders. He's got the talent. You got a dude now and an offensive coordinator. My last question before we close it out. How long does Dabo have left? The clock ticking?
Well, I mean, I kind of just, then if it goes downhill, I mean, he's won some national titles. So, I mean, he's in that position where when it's time for him to leave, he can leave. You know what I mean? and I think that he's in a position that you don't leave Clemson unless you're retiring. And I think that's hard to see where Garrett Riley is. You know, we could see the exact same thing that Bob Stoops did with Lincoln. You know, just kind of, hey, you're the guy, but they have to succeed.
Correct.
And if they don't succeed, then Garrett Riley won't be the guy. You know,
10 games, right? It's got to be double-digit wins.
Oh, yeah. You have to put yourself in a position to at least be in the conversation. And if you're getting 10 wins and 11 wins and winning the, ACC championship, you're up for the playoffs, especially with 12 teams.
Yeah.
Right. So that puts you in a position where, hey, man, it could be a 3-year deal.
I'm with it.
And if they're balling and still 3 years, like, you know what, it's time for me to step away. Garrett, you got it. Have a good time.
Yep.
And I mean, he can recruit there because he's was already there at ECU. So Carolina's is no problem for him.
Stone's throw.
Yeah. So it ain't nothing. So I mean, that's something it's a good idea. I think you could see the exact same thing happen that Bob Stoops did with Lincoln.
Watch the movie. The ending doesn't change, right?
But Big
Brother.
But the biggest thing is you have to make sure you didn't do what Big Brother did, is jump in the middle of the night. I mean, Clemson isn't a job, and I don't think Oklahoma's a job that you leave in the middle of the night. I mean, it's one of the premier programs in football. So, but he didn't have to rebuild it, and I think that's kind of was the biggest hit on Lincoln. Well, you took over a top 5 school, bro, so you're welcome.
Right, but
Clemson isn't a top 5 school right now. So
no, I understand. But in the Lincoln aspect, they bought him a house, they paid for the house, and they built.
Oh yeah. I mean,
they get
that's why he. I don't think he can leave USC.
No,
he can't afford it.
No way. He can't afford to pay for all that.
He can't afford it. I mean, you ain't gonna. What, you gonna pay him $50 million to be a head coach?
So this was great. I like doing a weekly headline and breaking down a team. Who you want to do next week? Let's give people a little preview. Who you want to break down?
I mean, you gave me 2 more options from this week.
It was Auburn.
And I almost picked Auburn. So I think we're gonna have to go with the other Tiger next week.
Okay.
And go with Auburn. So
I'm down. We'll break down the Tigers next week. Sounds good.
I mean, I'm gonna be harsh on Cincinnati because OU plays them this year. So
I want to see what your thoughts are when we get there about Fickle and everything else that went down.
It was rough.
Yeah.
So we'll get there though. We'll get there.
Take us away, my man.
Until next week. Let's go.